Right off the bat, we're going to use our dropper tool to fix our white balance and also enable profile corrections, which adds that airiness into the edges that we're always looking for. So I know this was a very fast intro, but a little background on this image. We basically shot this in home and the lighting wasn't the best. The lighting was very direct, so we have a long dragging shadow. We would have needed a lot more diffusers, but since the light was like the only thing literally, it was either get some nice shadows or it's gonna be really dark if we try to even out the lighting. It was a very dark, gloomy day, so we just needed to try to do this in post. So that's what I'm trying to do here. And hopefully you guys learned something new too. So basically, I'm just using the basic panel. Basically basic. All right, so basically I'm using the basic panel to get those shadows up without compromising the shadows of like the darks of its actual hair and then making it look too light. And then here I'm just using the brush tool to just get rid of the main like darkness that we see here, using that clarity, like bringing it down, using dehaze, which is my favorite way of adding light because you don't actually overexpose. You're just kind of like removing that that dark shadow from there, and then you just basically add it where you need it. It is very tedious, so I do take a while to do this. And then I'm just basically trying to do some patch corrections and whatnot. So I do have my auto mask on, so that's gonna help us a lot in avoiding baby. And it does kind of stick to parts of the shadows. So it's thinking maybe like, hey, do you really want to mask it from this? And then you just go over the actual area and then it'll recognize, yes, you do want to cover this. So it's going to start applying it there. Here I am just smoothing baby's skin and with the texture down, and then a little bit of highlights up to make it a little bit lighter. Okay, so here we're just going to continue to keep like building that skin smoothening and basically just layer upon layer upon layer of skin smoothening at various steps. So I do turn down the texture to get rid of a lot of the red blotchiness that comes with newborns. That's normal. It's just their little baby skin. It's getting used to, you know, getting acclimated to the outside, and also, you know, playing with the highlights and what have you, just trying to get that tone right. And then here I am just doing some fine detailing, so sharpening, adding some contrast, doing some basically just adding that texture too. The texture tool is really cool, I'm not gonna lie. I prefer the texture tool over the sharpening because sometimes sharpening just looks really fake. And then the texture tool just like is like really micro sharpens like these little edges. I don't know how to explain it correctly, obviously, because I'm over here rambling. But here I am trying to recover the highlights of various little ripples in the wrap. And I did do an Instagram poll and asked you guys if you wanted to see a wrap video, and I got an overwhelming response of yes. So hopefully soon I should be coming out with one, just showing you guys how to do like this really simple wraps. I don't get too crazy when I wrap newborns. I mean, and it also just depends on like if baby likes their hands up, it's a certain way you have to wrap. If babies prefer their hands down, if they were breeched, then obviously like feet are a big thing and they're not going to be comfortable. So it just depends on the babies, and I'll go over that in that wrap video. Yeah, let's see, what are we doing now? Ah, yes, the gradients. Okay, so this is a gradient. For those who don't know, it's that little box thing in the top, and I'm trying to create like a darkening gradient. And the cool thing with gradients too is that you can actually apply the gradient with a brush if you wanted to continue a little bit more, if you wanted to blend nicer. Here I just took the whites down because I felt like it was just so punchy. So I went in, I'm going in with my brush, I'm using the auto mask, I'm trying to just get rid of the awkward lighting basically. I do like try to do this on the other side as well. It just, guys, if you can have two reflectors at once in a home, that would have like saved me a little bit from the shadows on the other side. I did have a reflector pointed towards the top of his head because it was a giant space, so there was no light bouncing back into it. And I had my white reflector on towards his head. If I could shoot this again, I would probably bring in a second reflector and obviously probably some studio lighting, and just put it